Shall we start? Jatin?
We're waiting for Mr. Reddy to join in. As soon as he's here, we'll begin with the session.
All right. Okay, I think we'll start the session while Mr. Reddy will join us shortly. Uh, Alright. A very good afternoon to everyone. I welcome on board all the panelists and audience to the LexTech Meet 2.0, organized by Vaidhanik, a startup incubator. LexTech is an amalgamation of technology and law. It is an initiative of Vaidhanik, a startup incubator established by Ms. Ankita Samyal, under the vision of creating awareness about agendas of significance. Today's discussion is organized in collaboration with Rest the Case, a legal aggregator platform. I work at Rest the Case as a content analyst, and I've been writing for the blockchain space for the past 2 years. So before we begin with the session, let's see a short video about Rest the Case and our services. Jatin, if you could play the video.
Yes, sure, definitely.
Welcome to Rest the Case, one-stop solution for all legal services and information. We are a legal aggregator platform connecting lawyers and clients. Finding legal help has never been easier. Just sign in and find a lawyer you want. You can filter lawyers by location, specialization, and even PIN code. All the lawyers on our websites are verified. Talk to lawyers immediately if they are online and, if not, book an appointment. We understand that legal matters are confidential, and that is why all information on the website is encrypted. Not sure about the process or having some trouble getting in touch with a lawyer? We have got your back. Just mail us at info@restthecase.com. Legal drafting can be time-consuming and a tricky business, but we have you covered. Get numerous documents templates to choose from. You just need to select a document template, fill in the details, and download your document. It's just that simple. Believe it or not, that is not the only thing we have to offer. Rest the Case also has an extensive legal library. Browse through our legal tips, book reviews, daily legal news updates, and a lot more. Why go anywhere else when you can get everything in one place? Rest the Case, your one-stop solution for all legal needs.
Thank you. So let's begin with the discussion. Today we are here to have an open discussion on the topic NFT, a game changer in the Web 3.0. With the advent of Web 3.0, the internet is shifting new paradigm. Blockchain technology and NFT in particular have a lot to contribute to shape the future of internet. Today with us, we have the best industry experts who will provide us with the insights of the rising trend of blockchain space. Let's begin with introducing our panelists. Let's begin with Mr. Raj Kapoor. Mr. Raj A. Kapoor is founder and chairman of Indian Blockchain Alliance and chief growth officer at ChainSense Limited, the largest India emerging technology think tank. He is also the chairman of Organization of Blockchain Technology Users, the Asia lead of technology and innovation at Blockchain Space Technology Limited. Mr. Raj Kapoor was also selected as a top cryptocurrency and blockchain influencer by the Asia Market Capital this year. He's also an advisory board member of several blockchain companies. Mr. Kapoor is also skilled in AI, robotics, cybersecurity, Internet of Things, and cloud computing. He has designed and worked on 4 blockchain, 5 centralized exchanges, 3 swaps, and 3 decentralized exchanges. He's now working with his team on India's own indigenous blockchain with ChainSense Limited and many other projects to come. Welcome, Raju.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Ms. Vishakha Singh, VP, WazirX NFT Marketplace. Ms. Vishakha is a former Indian actress, turned film producer, and a startup entrepreneur. Ms. Vishakha started her journey into films in 2007, and she has spent a significant number of years producing award-winning film content, like the movie Peddlers, Haramkhor, Atkan Chatkan. Vishakha is the winner of Women Entrepreneur Quest Challenge 2017, hosted by Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Her aim now is to provide country's youth with game-changing platforms that serve as a safe arena for art to thrive. Breaking stereotypes in the world of cryptos, Ms. Vishakha is currently the co-founder and VP of WazirX NFT Marketplace, India's most trusted NFT marketplace under the WazirX brand. A blockchain enthusiast, an actor, film producer, and a creator herself, Ms. Vishakha understands the sentimental value of art and the artist's passion. It's truly an honor to have you here on board with us, ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me.
And our next panelist is Mr. Vijay Reddy. He's a venture capitalist and general partner at Obert Global Capital. His current area of expertise includes private equity, venture capital, and alternate investment, with an emphasis on ethics and sustainable business practice as a passion. He was a part of the World Bank and IMF, the parliamentary network which co-organize high-level parliamentary meetings with overarching theme investments in human capital. He also works closely with policymakers and IMF experts. He is involved in a variety of sophisticated business transactions and complex deals. Most notably, he has been a member of the core team of disbursement of millions of dollars in numerous projects through the world from beginning of the negotiation to the end.
I think Mr. Reddy will join us in a short while. In the meantime, we can next up move on to our panelist, Ms. Tarini Khanna. She's an NFT artist and a designer. She's a digital artist and designer from Delhi. She has been creating NFTs in the WazirX NFT marketplace since July 2021. Until now, she has created over 300 NFT pieces. Her goal is to continue doing what she loves, which is to explore new mediums and grow as an artist. It is truly an honor to have you on board with us, ma'am. We look forward to a discussion with you.
Thank you so much for having me, Jatin.
Yes, ma'am. Moving up, we have Ms. Ankita Sambyal, founder of Angina Legal and Tech Solutions, and Vaidhanik, a startup incubator. A startup enthusiast with strong market understanding, she started her journey with startups in 2017 and established Angina Legal and Tech Solutions in 2019. ALTS was created to be a new age firm that believes in delivering strategies, ideas, insights by creating a synergy between business, law, and innovation. ALTS has launched one-of-a-kind startup incubator known as Vaidhanik. Vaidhanik is a 360-degree service platform operating as a one-stop shop for all the startups. It is committed to meeting the needs of startups by providing a plethora of services such as mentoring, legal advice, with a sharp eye for detail, all while adhering to the idea of your vision, our support. It's truly an honor to have you here with us, ma'am. We look forward to an organic discussion with you.
I extend a very warm welcome to all our speakers who took out their time and joined us today to be part of this discussion. We are honored to have you all with us today. Let's begin with our questions. I would like to direct my first question, which is open to all the panelists. NFT has been the hot topic for the year 2021, with high record-breaking valuation and trade volume. So let's begin with the bare basics. What is the NFT ecosystem, and how is it different from cryptocurrency? Let's start with you guys. Sir?
I couldn't hear you very well. Like you spoke to me?
Yes, I mean the question is open to all. I'll repeat the question. What is the NFT ecosystem and how is it different from cryptocurrencies?
All right. I'll keep it very small and simple. I always believe in two things. One is fungibility, non-fungibility. Once we understand that, the difference is pretty evident, actually. Uh, the cryptos are fungible because you buy and get an equivalent value of cryptos, and non-fungible is not the same. Fungibility means equivalent value, non-fungible means uniqueness, variability, all those factors come inside. And I think that is the critical difference. One is perceived value and one is actual value. In simple words, I think that's what an NFT and a non-NFT is. So that's from my side. I'm sure everybody else has their own 2 cents, and I'm happy to hear all that. Always nice to hear different perspectives.
Right, sir.
So if I may just have a go at this. Basically, I'm a non-tech person, non-STEM, so I have a very simplistic view of cryptos and NFTs. I think as a lay person, my biggest understanding was that everybody in the ecosystem, basically the general public, and we all assume crypto, blockchain, and NFTs to be, everything rolled into one. And I think it's very important to
interchangeable. Yes. Interchangeable is what people do. Yes,
absolutely. So it's very important to simplify that blockchain is the underlying technology on which crypto as well as NFTs work. Now, NFTs are digital assets. Crypto is, from my perspective, crypto is the mode of payment. See, when I explain to people, I always say, imagine at least our NFT marketplace as a social media platform, which works on blockchain, but at the back end of it, we transact in crypto. However, it's important to understand that the functioning of NFTs or the transaction can also happen in fiat currency, but it makes more sense. We won't delve into why it makes more sense for it to happen in crypto. And of course, as Raj said, it is all about crypto is fungible, NFTs are non-fungible. When we say non-fungible, basically, we need to understand the meaning of the word fungible. Fungible is something that can be replaced, is not unique, so to say. Non-fungible is something that's absolutely unique. Each of us is a unique individual. There is one of our kind. You can't really replicate us, even if we have a twin. Our traits would be very, very unique. So that's the definition of non-fungible. And what exactly is an NFT would actually boil down to the content part of it, which means the way I explain to my friends is that every content that you create, and you own the IP of that, you can prove the ownership of that IP. And when you put it out on social media, you're just putting it out there for maybe validation or for community engagement, etc. But if you put the same content on blockchain for sale and to generate some revenue, it is a non-fungible token.
Right. That was very insightful and very simplified, actually. I think that'll really help our audience understand. I would like to direct my follow-up question to Mr. Raj Kapoor, Vishakha ma'am, and Mr. Vijay Reddy. What is Web 3.0 and how is it related to NFTs?
Well, Web 3.0 is what people call blockchain. You can call it many things. People are calling it many more things. We can call it Web 3.0. These are all nomenclatures given by the public, which we enjoy. If there is somebody I'm working with is saying I'm working on Web 5.0, somebody says I'm working on something else, it's perfectly okay. So basically, Web 3.0 are more from the decentralized platforms of usage now, where we can actually now build many more applications than we used to. We can't build anything on the internet, but we can build on the Web 3.0. Whether it's an NFT, whether it's a crypto, whether it is the metaverse, it's the future. We call it Web 3.0. Next year, we'll be calling it something else, that's for sure. But more or less, it'll be the same mix of things. Basically, a decentralized platform. You can enjoy a lot of things, get your privacy if you want or not. There are so many issues with quantum computing coming in. Whatever we are talking about today about NFTs and crypto and blockchain, there's going to be a disruption. Maybe that'll be called 4.0, but in the meantime, 3.0 is good enough to say simply it's a blockchain. I call it the blockchain, and that's the underlying technology of blockchain is Web 3.0.
Right. That makes sense. Ma'am, or Vishakha ma'am, or Vijay sir, would you like to?
Web 3.0 is fun. That's one line.
Right. I think it will bring the era the creators era.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is now content will be king, and they will be rewarded for the content. Hitherto, no one was rewarded for the content. I have written so many speeches, and I've seen so many so-called professionals use them. Well, now I put everything on the NFT, including whatever we are talking now. It's automatically going onto my blockchain, so everything is recorded. Not only recorded, it's on the NFT.
Right, right.
It's on the blockchain. Sorry, it's not on the blockchain.
That's really
Absolutely.
interesting to know, sir. Which leads me to my second question. Ever since Facebook has changed its name to Meta, the word metaverse is everywhere these days, especially with respect to Web 3.0. What is metaverse and what role do NFTs play in the metaverse? Ma'am, Vishakha ma'am.
Well, so again, as I said, I'm a non-techie, so I always tend to simplify things for my own understanding. And for me, metaverse is nothing but virtual reality. It's just a very cool word, as Raghu and metaverse, and it just sounds cool and makes for great copy and makes for great headlines. Metaverse is nothing but virtual reality, I would so to say. I think people are trying to build a parallel universe on blockchain, where I think I don't know what the vision is for everybody to have a parallel life in the metaverse and have games and avatars meet each other at cafeterias, etc. So who knows? Maybe you could probably be right now speaking here, but maybe our avatars are having a different conversation on a different topic in the metaverse, or on something like Zoom. So I think metaverse is vision that people who are creating on blockchain on Web 3.0 have. It's exciting. It wasn't thought of early, not at this level, and I think that's the beauty of Web 3.0 because it is decentralized. Everybody has the chance to now participate and have an immersive experience and build. And now when it comes to NFTs, again, non-fungible tokens will actually just help generate revenue. People can actually get compensated for the content that they produce.
That's a good point there also, because the metaverse is nothing but another world which we've created on the real world, because we love our fantasies, but we can't live out half of them. I'm sure of that. A lot of youngsters, like I see here, I'm sure half of you would be in the metaverse in another 2 years' time. I'll tell you why, because there are no rules and regulations. It's your rules and regulations, guys. And one of the important things of NFTs and crypto, and I have written an article in the Economic Times maybe about 15 days back, it came up there, in which I mentioned very clearly, is you can actually use this as the currency of the metaverse going forward. So I think the metaverse is great for people who want to be a little more of escapists, which a lot of us are. And the rest of it, currency, NFTs are all going to be there. There are going to be so many things there. There are going to be carnivals. There's going to be road shows. There are going to be half the ad world or half the brands have already gone onto the metaverse. It's an opportunity to have more exposure in another world, in the virtual world. And again, blockchain, Web 3.0.
Right. We've dominantly had our gaming space on
Yes.
on the virtual AR VR spaces, but I think NFTs will act as a gate pass for everyone who is interested to live out their life, which is very interesting take. Okay. Uh, my next question is especially for Ms. Talini Khanna and Vishakha Singh. Um, the most expensive NFT by Beeples was sold for 69.3 million at Christie's auction. This clearly makes the NFT space very promising for young artists. However, a lot of people still have a question, which is why sell your art through NFTs as opposed to conventional means? If you can shed some light over this.
If I could chime
Darling,
in.
you can take that.
Um, yeah, I would like to take that, Vishaka. I think what we need to see is the life cycle of an NFT and compare it to life cycle of a traditional art piece. It starts from you creating the artwork and then selling it off. Whereas in the NFT world, you can make an artwork, sell it, and once it's sold, that is not where it ends. You get royalties in perpetuity. That is obviously an added incentive. But apart from that, you also get the recognition that you deserve. Just like people, when you are in the more traditional sense, once your artwork is sold off, that is where it ends. And the more times an NFT is resold, the more it gets recognition. So you do make, you get in. You not only are selling and getting royalties as an incentive, but you're also getting recognition that you deserve, that in the traditional sense you might not get.
Right, right.
And if I may just add to that, Shraddha, so you have to remember NFTs, NFTs didn't exist, or at least weren't this mainstream until 2 years ago. 2017 is when OpenSea began the largest NFT platform. Now, NFTs have been non-existent for artists, okay, until last year. So, as a traditional artist, and I'll give you my example, as an independent film producer, earlier when I would sell my film, I would sell it in chunks. Even this is even before the advent of OTT platforms. I would sell my theatrical rights, and I would sell my music rights and satellite rights and SVOD and what have you. Add to that the NFT rights now, so that is an additional stream of revenue. Secondly, you have to remember NFTs are to be, the moment the artist sells the NFT rights on blockchain, they are to be commercially exploited only on the blockchain. They do not conflict with any rights whatsoever in the physical world. And that is the beauty of NFTs. That's the biggest difference. And of course, as Tarini said, you continue to, because in the real world, it's very difficult to track your royalties, and a lot of other things. Here you cut down on intermediaries. It's faster, it's more efficient. And I'll give you an example. In the art world, ideally an artist, when they go around looking for their work to get selected in art galleries, apart from that challenge, the moment the art gallery actually selects an artist's work, globally only 33% of the work showcased in art galleries gets sold out. In India, that percentage is as low as 7%. Now, artists on our platform, at least 51% of our artists have made a sale via NFTs on our platform. So again, I think it's a faster turnaround and a higher success rate if you actually sell on the blockchain, because there's a niche audience out there.
Right, that definitely seems like a big leap for artists.
You can also add to that. It's 24/7, so it's visible all the time, and it's global. The reach is so much more global. It's not restricted to an area, and that I think are the two critical points for any artist: the exposure they get, the opportunities they get. I've seen people, really young kids, also really make it big, and that's something which is an opportunity which they never had. We have got fantastic talent, but look at the way now we can showcase it to the whole world, not just the locality or in India. So that's one of the two, apart from what Vishakha and Tarini has said, I think we can just add these 2 points and that makes for a very tasty buffet.
Right, right. So just to clarify this with our audience, what is the mechanism which is in place, which is used to verify the authenticity of any artist or creator or owner of an art? How is that done exactly?
No?
Tarini, do you want to take that?
Well, I could talk as a creator myself. I'm a creator. Especially on the VizirX platform, I got greenlisted, so I had to fill in a form. I had to give my socials, and that is how they verified my existence and that I have a history of creating art. But different platforms have different ways of going about it. There are platforms where you could just put up anything, so that is a little tricky, I feel, in terms of it is not all it's verified. There are cases where there is people stealing artworks and putting it on different marketplaces, but I feel the community itself is very efficient in this regards, that they will, if they do witness it, there is discord groups. The social media is so active today. One tweet about it and it's taken off. So it's very efficient, as Mr. Raj Kapoor said, that it is 24/7. So there is somebody who's going to be looking after it 24/7, and it is definitely taken down.
Right. Vishakha, ma'am, from an exchange's perspective, what are the means that are to verify a creator's art before listing it on your platform?
So, you know, because we are on blockchain, and the entire ethos of blockchain is transparency and being decentralized. However, we had to do a bit of gatekeeping because we were the pioneers in this space, and it's important because we need to set a culture of a certain ethics and such a certain culture in place when we started off. So the only means in which we could verify the authenticity and credibility of an artist was by actually checking their social media profiles first. So we still have a wait list of 23,000 creators on our platform. We've only gone through 5,000 applications and only 1,000 have been listed in the last 6 months. This is being done so that in order to maintain the interest and look after the interest of the collectors, because they are the ones who are spending their money. Now, we actually go through the social media profiles of creators. And if a profile has been created, say, in September 2021, we don't greenlist them. It's important for us to see the artwork of the artist on, dating back to 2016, consistently creating artwork out there. Of course, it helps if you have a blue verified tick mark, because that means somebody else has already done the verification for you. So yes, very stringent methods. Apart from that, as Tarini pointed out, even creators also, the social media is out there. You can check a lot of background details on social media. A lot of artists also create proof of work, so to say, where they record the creation of the artwork and put it out as videos on social media content. So we know that this person has actually taken time to create and they're talking about the content, etc. So little things like that, very organically put together, and that's how we do the verification process.
Right, that's one. I'd like Jatin to take up the following questions with this.
Right. Thank you so much, Shweta. So, there's this trend that goes on in the NFT space, which says, why pay so much for a piece of art when you can just right click it? I'll just screenshot it. Why do I need to pay $3 lakh for a Bored Ape? I'll just screenshot it and use it as my PFP, right? But this makes me wonder as to how can a NFT artist be protected from getting their creation imitated, counterfeited, or copied? And who better to answer this than Miss Ankita and Miss Tarini?
Oh, so I'll request Ms. Khanna to talk about this first, and then I'll
Well,
give the legal point of view towards it.
well, it is on Web 3.0, and like everybody said, it is online. If you take a screenshot of it, it is not an NFT, basically. That is just a screenshot, and that is where it is. I've also seen this video by Gary Vee where he explained how if you go and take a screenshot in front of somebody's house, that house does not become yours. It's just a picture of that house. We go and we click pictures. This has become a trend. You go anywhere, you go to a cafe, you take a photograph. That does not mean that the cafe belongs to you, right? So that NFT similarly does not belong to you, and it is as simple as that. So you don't have the bragging rights of owning that cafe or owning that house. You just have a screenshot or a photograph.
Right.
That's right.
I
Yes,
Yes,
Jatin, you
ma'am.
want- Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. If you could shed some light on it.
Okay. So before discussing or throwing light from the legal point of view, the most important thing to be understand is what the new generation is wanting. The new generation wants to see the physical touch into a virtual reality. All this started from the gaming space altogether. People started to explore PS1, PS2, PS3. The experience enhanced. They wanted to know more about it. Then there were cinemas which were built in such a way that you can feel the movie in as if you're a part of that movie. So every time we see there's a lot of developments, and people, without moving from one place to another, can touch, feel, and sense that reality sitting at one place. So this requirement, like Mr. Raj Kapoor said, yes, there are a lot of fantasies which every human being has, but it's not that every fantasy is, come to a reality. So now this is the new way or a new version of creating realities. Now, when such things came up, the technology developed, blockchain space came. Yes, the different with different names, metaverse or Web 3.0, etc., etc. And now the question was the ownership. So now NFT actually gives a certificate of ownership that you are owning this, and also it also opened the gates of peer to peer relations. The artist who has not been recognized, in his own local market or even local area where he is working since years, now he has a world to showcase him. So in that way, people started. But again, yes, the question of ownership, how the transactions will go on, how the platforms are going to welcome. So the platforms like X, and how Vishakha just explained how background due diligence they do with the artist work. So these are the important sectors where the people who are giving the platform for other people to explore their art, work, imagination, they have to be very cautious about how they're collecting, because yes, again, the data protection role plays in picture. And by doing the proper due diligence and following the regulations, yes, that is possible that the platform can be given to the artist to explore, or other people who wants to explore an NFT. uh, when I talk about NFT space, I think it has become another viewpoint for cryptocurrency. So the beautification of NFT is that the NFT will be working in the space of blockchain only. So it becomes very transparent. It is on that platform. It becomes contractual also, because there are smart contracts which are running those platforms. Then also it gives a ownership. The counterfeiting fear, or making it A plus, or infringing rights becomes very less on that platform. And also when you apply for, under the bracket of intellectual property rights, your art, your song, your film, it takes a lot of time to get the certification, because there's objection, there's 110 things. So I think NFT has become very reasonable for the people also to showcase their art as soon as possible, because we are in such a kind of a evolution. Every minute everything is changing, because the human mind, the technology has developed so much, or it is in its advanced stage, or it's coming into advanced stage, that a person who is creating today A block, the other person will be ready with B, C, D blocks. So time span is short. People need their recognition. So till now, what we are seeing, without having any regulations in place till now from all over the world, but still NFT is giving that confidence, and extra platform, revenue platform to artists to come up and showcase there and earn out of it.
Right. That was really insightful. And building up on what you said about NFTs being present on the blockchain technology, and as Raj sir also mentioned, blockchain offers you a lot of special features that you can do. It's an open space, you can build on it. Right. So this makes me wonder, is NFT just an art piece, or is there some sort of utility attached with NFTs, or is it just a support measure for cryptocurrency, or what are the particular use cases of NFT? And I would like to direct this question to Mr. Reddy and Miss Vishakha and Miss Tarini.
If I could chime in, Jatin, I think there is immense utility when it comes to NFTs, and it does not end at it just being an artwork and for display. There are musicians. There are several different. Art is just not restricted to 2D, 3D mediums. There is music. There is architecture. A lot of things. And even on Vizier, if you would see, there are musicians coming up with NFTs, and it comes with an added utility. If you say buy an NFT, you can get concert access tickets along with it till you hold that NFT. So it comes with not only having that artwork, but also having some extra utility. And a lot of people have started doing that. Even artists say, I create an artwork, and it's a traditional artwork, and I make it convert into an NFT, put it up. And I can also send the collector the actual traditional artwork that I've created on a canvas as an added utility. So it does not end at it just being, a JPEG image or an MP4 image. You could add immense utility to an NFT, and I think that is what's so unique about NFTs, that it does not end at that transaction of you buying a digital work of art.
Right. Mr. Reddy, if you'd like to
Right.
add to it.
Yeah. Hi. I agree with Miss Kanna See, as you said that the beauty of the NFT is it could be any product could be created or transformed or could be sold on any platform which is coming up on the NFTs, and the royalty is one of the beautiful thing which one can enjoy to the any extent or as multiple times, as thing. And it could be on anything like the music as you said the product or anything creation. And for the small creators like artwork creators or artisans, it is the biggest platform which is going to be futuristic thing which we understand. This is going to be they make a very quality life and a quality income sources by this. And there is a gap still to fill this also for the awareness how to get this all artists under this into this platform to use the NFT, because this is a tech driven thing, so not mostly widely globally as well we see is not more came into the practice if we say this. So this is my take.
Right. So that was truly insightful. Miss Singh, if you'd like to add to it.
Sure. I think to understand the use cases of NFTs, one has to remember that because this is Web 3.0 and we are we're building on it together, creativity is the key here. Secondly, to understand the utility of NFTs, you also have to look at it from a collector's lens, because at the end of the day, I know everybody thinks it's the creator and the collector together, but it's primarily the collector who drives this, because it is at the end of the day their investment, right? So there are collectors who look at NFTs as just a form of as a tradable asset, as an investment, and they can probably just and of course it's good to have if you're investing in an asset, then you might as well have some aesthetic value to it. So on the back end is the token or the investment asset, and probably on the front end is the beautiful NFT artwork. Then, so these could primarily be art collectors. So there is the investment route that collectors look at. Then there are collectors who just want to buy art for the sake of art. So these are the two major divides that we've seen. And then, of course, we've seen a lot of startup enthusiasts and crypto enthusiasts who are now participating in the NFT ecosystem because they're just innovative. They just believe in it. So different collectors, different needs. But from a creator perspective and from the aesthetic point of view, remember, art will always be the base of NFTs. At the end of the day, NFTs are an audiovisual experience. Today, when you own art, you probably have this painting at the back. But if you have multiple NFTs, you'll have a screen and these NFTs playing in loops. When your friends visit, you can always show them off. And on our Vazirex NFT marketplace, we first introduced the art category. So from fantastic artists like Tarani, we have cartoonists like Satish Acharya. We then introduced the music categories, and we actually assumed that, because musicians, especially electronic EDM musicians, would actually take on to the space very well, which they did. So we've had artists like Ritviz and Nuclear and Gully Boy who sang the song, in Gully Gang. We've had Sunburn Music Festival come up with utility tokens like ticket access, audio passes, etc. But interestingly, because India being India, we sold bhajans as NFTs, devotional NFTs. We've sold poetry as NFTs. We are seeing children's literary work, audiobooks being sold as NFTs. We have YouTubers coming, we have gamers coming, we're launching esports and cricketers, individuals. So that's great. But I think from an Indian perspective, because we do like some sort of utility, kuch to hona chahiye, right? It can't be just hawa mein. That's the Indian perspective, right? We like our physical assets. I think from an Indian perspective, we need the phygital, an amalgamation of utility plus NFT, because I'm the kind of person, if I buy an NFT, I want my NFT on my cushion cover also, the printout of that. So I'm literally Vasuli Bhai from Golmaal, who wants full on utility. So yeah, different collectors, different needs.
Right. That was truly a wonderful answer, Johan. I would also like to, following on this line of thought, ask Mr. Reddy as to what NFTs actually have to, provide in terms of education and research utility.
Sorry, your voice is not audible. Can you come again?
Yes, sir. No issues at all. So I wanted to ask you as to what is the particular use case of NFTs in terms of the education and research arena, as to how can NFTs provide to developing or reshaping them, especially given the youngsters such as us are involved in the NFT space a lot.
See, I think this is just a start, and it's just a start. We say that now the bubbles are coming up, and eventually it's got to be a sector like a very futuristic, and it's got to be starting as a course, and it's got to be a very practical experience, practically learning, for the future. And as far as I understand, the general every audience or the users who would be wanting to get into this thing, and it's a must or a very usable platform which would be and when you say the education or the research or the futuristic way, see this is when this is going to be a futuristic, then it's going to be a most booming thing, and people won't will get into this thing more of a a practically daily day-to-day usage or something like that.
Right. So,
Can I chip
right.
in a bit? I'd like to chip
Yeah.
in here.
Yes. So we would love.
See,
Yes. So we'd love to have you.
we see NFT with a very tunnel vision right now. There is actually much more than what we see. It's much more what meets the eye. Of course, great startups, I mean, digital art, collectibles, all these have been great. How about I'm actually looking at very innovative NFTs. I'm working on myself. I'm working on actually the NFT, what we call as just for a nice name, NFT 2.0, a more collaborative experience with artists. Now we'll speak on that maybe some other day because I'm still working on it to be announced in January. But I'll give you an example how some people have actually used this even for good. It can be used even in any space. But Webster's, for example, I worked with Webster's many years back. And I don't know how many of you know that Webster's actually made an NFT of the definition of NFT because they were the first to print it. And the proceeds went, and by the way, it sold for 14 Ether. And that money went for a foundation called Teach for All, where I'm very deeply involved in that. And it was something unique. Now we are actually creating a strategy not only for Webster but for a lot of other publications of how to bring out the very first version on NFT. Now that's one thing. I myself am an NFT. I have certain skills in the crypto space, and I'm very well respected in the market. May hope, thank God. So far, all my predictions have been very good, and we keep it at that. And I have an NFT in OpenSea, for example. I actually sell a weekly NFT on myself, saying I'll give you 3 tips. I'm not going to give you free. India mein sabko free chahiye. I will not give you free. If you want something, if you don't want anything, the Bitcoin and all, you put your money there, wasted, wanted, whatever, is fine. Because I'm very deeply entrenched in the blockchain space, I study almost 1,200 to 1,500 different tokens and coins because I work with a lot of them. So I know from a functionality perspective which are going to give good returns. It's just like the stock market, nothing really different. So I said, okay, I'll give 3 tips every week. I do that, and I get fantastic rates for my NFT. So I'm happy with being an NFT myself. And all of us, as we say, are unique. We can create our own NFTs. I also work with a lot of software IP professionals because I have a lot of IPs myself. I said, let's put that on the, if somebody wants to buy our technology, let's put that on an NFT. So just like, in the beginning, if you may have heard, Tim Berners. Anybody knows Tim Berners?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
Who is he?
I know one Tim Berners. He's the founder of the Cardano-based project known as OG Bears.
Well, Tim Berners was the founder of the internet. He was way before.
All right.
Right. So Tim Berners his name is Tim Berners-Lee. He was the founder of the World Wide Web. Today, thanks to him, we're all speaking. He in fact sold his source code on a sub piece for almost $5.5 million. And that's a great thing. These and all technical advances can also be put on the NFT. Today we are seeing a very limited usage of NFT. It's going to really explode as we go. I can speak of, there are NFTs which do so much. Sports has become an NFT. You've got NBA basketball. You've got Fever. Even Cardano has sold its unused algorithms as NFTs. That itself is something unique. Twitter also is releasing NFTs on Rarible so that more and more people can get into that system out there. Because as you said very correctly, Jatin, they're moving towards that very clearly. Their holding company Square has now become Block. Facebook has become Meta. And that's a harbinger of what a lot of things are going to come because they don't want to be seen only for that focused product. And therefore, NFTs are really going to evolve. All brands Everybody. Nike recently went into NFT for friend. Coca-Cola did it for Friendship Day. Sachin Tendulkar's, I don't know whether you know the story, but we'll keep that for another day. There are so many of them. I won't go into all of them, but these are some other use cases beyond digital art and collectibles, where people can see value beyond just a collection. And I think collections are great, but there has to be a value in NFTs beyond that for it to sustain and survive. Otherwise, it's going to be a fad for some time, because at the end of the day, there are going to be limited number of people who actually come and collect. And once they have, there'll be a little plateau. So rather than just have a plateau, there'll be a lot more. And the net NFT 2.0, which I'm referring to, is a lease of life for all NFT artists, digital artists, and students. I'll speak about that some other day, but that's real fun. We'll be doing a lot of research work in that, and I'm working with the University of Washington on that. I'm also working with a couple of really cool guys. And the best part, it is on a green blockchain. It does not burn. And that, I think, is more important than the NFT itself. It's sustainable. Otherwise, NFTs will not be sustainable in the long run if we keep going the same rate we are going right now. That is in the back end. A lot of people don't think of the back end, but that's very, very important. So sustainable NFTs, you can call them 2.0 or 3.0 or whatever you want to call them, but that's going to be the future. And we are right at the ground floor of this opportunity.
I'll just add one point to what Mr. Raj Kapoor said. But before that, yes, Mr. Raj Kapoor will have another session with you discussing about the NFT 2.0.
Yeah.
And yes, what Mr. Raj Kapoor said and what Ms. Singh said, we really need to understand when we come to the space of asset creation, whether the NFT space has opened a gate for ownership. And when we talk about IP, intellectual property rights attached to, so that is also asset form. But what even I have witnessed specifically in India, people don't know how to even do a IP valuation of their own ownerships. So now NFT, what Ms. Singh said that yes, NFT has become a utility of revenue. So now, in the list of assets, whenever we file our taxations or our bills or GST, whenever, so that will also play a very important role in filing the asset creation. So NFT is plus to asset creation, but again, now if cryptocurrency is taken as an asset, then the another question comes whether the non-fungible tokens will be taken as an asset. So that is a question which has been to be answered by all the legislators. But yes, if we see the far side of it, definitely it becomes the utility of revenue for each and every person in different sense.
Hey, thank you so much, ma'am, for that answer. And also thank you, sir, for highlighting such great points. So talking about one of the points you highlighted, it's about NFTs being all about innovation. So when I think of the word innovation, I can think of, a lot of startups, a lot of new projects coming up. And one of the first supports to these startups and the new projects are actually venture capitalists. And since we have two of them on board with us today, I have this question in my mind. As a retail investor, when I invest in NFTs, I look for the project's roadmap, the utility, obviously, as ma'am mentioned, the art, because I also tend to use my particular NFT everywhere. But this approach may be different for a venture capitalist who invests a large sum of money into a particular project. And given the NFT space requires a lot of guidance, mentorship, and need for financial assistance at this particular juncture, how can venture capitalists contribute to the NFT ecosystem as a whole? And this question from my end is directed to Mr. Reddy and Mr. Raj Kapoor.
Yeah. Well, see, when it started, what do you say, the Bitcoin or NFT investment and NFT VC investment started in 2014, but it wasn't so blown up as right now identified. But if you see in 2016, there was a huge investment in the crypto world and the NFT, close to $10 billion, and that is very unknown thing, to the other sectors, whether will this be booming or whether will this make a futuristic thing or not. But in the eventually it just grew up, and now the current, in this current 2021 itself, the investment has grown to $17 billion, which is a 5% hike from the 2016 to current time. And even now it's been very calculated that by 2025 it's got across around to 25 billion more. And the investment process is very organic, since this is going to be a very booming sector and the very futuristic or daily day-to-day usage like thing. Because when you see the NFT is a currency platform, and blockchain is a technology used, and metaverse, which is gonna be again breaking thing, which will be a different experiencing platform, which will be a virtual thing like a second world, which we heard about in the very previous times. So this is gonna be a very biggest sector. This gonna be called as a very biggest sector, or the futuristic sector, where most of the investment private equities will be partnershiping investing into this thing.
Right, sir. That was truly really insightful. And I was hoping Mr. Raj could add to it.
Yeah, well, I can see a lot of interest, that's for sure. I represent 7 international companies only wanting to invest in blockchain and fintech companies. I do the due diligence for them, all of them. That's the most important part. If blockchain is a buzzword, yes, but you've got to do a lot of due diligence from an acceptability, adaptability, usability, scalability. And I'm basically do a lot of that now. But the fact remains, there are at least half a dozen ones which I work with personally. There are so many more. And a lot of young startups ready to take the coin also as funding. That's been a very different paradigm, because the last couple of years nobody even talked about coin. Now they talk about the coin regularly. There is a substantial interest, because you even see the government of India just took out, forget what they're talking about, the policy part of it. They also took out the mighty Minister of Information Technology Electronics, took out a fifth on the 5th of December or the 4th of December, they took out a document on the national strategy on blockchain. Now, there is no strategy on any other technology taken out by the government. The very fact that the government takes out a blockchain strategy means it's a harbinger of things to come in the technology space, in the blockchain space. And wherever there is interest like that, there will be funds to follow. It's just the beginning of a very large boom in this space. But diligence, that is going to be critical. Otherwise, it'll have an impact on real good projects as well.
Right, sir. Truly greatly said, sir. And I do agree with everything you've said, and especially the point about buzzwords, the word coin being a buzzword. It reminds me of the fact that Collins Dictionary chose the word NFT as the word of the year for 2021. And with all of the words of NFT, metaverse, cryptocurrency becoming buzzwords, and the regulations that a lack of clarity about the regulations for these the crypto space altogether being there in the ecosystem of the NFT space in the entire world. This makes me wonder as to what are the legal and regulatory regimes surrounding the NFT space and the cryptocurrency space in India and abroad. And I would like to ask Ms. Ankita, Ms. Vishakha, and Mr. Raj for this particular question.
Ankita, do you want to take that first?
Ms. Vishakha, you can take it.
Legal girl, you got to
Okay.
take that.
So there's a lot of questions which, when we talk about NFTs and IP, a lot of buzz is going on with regard to the intellectual properties. So we really need to understand that every jurisdiction plays very different role when it comes to IP. For example, in India, the regulation says that copyright is not mandatory, but you can file it, or it's a choice of the artist. When we move to South Asia, the Singapore says the day when you created the art or your physical copy, you are the owner of it. So similarly, US works differently. So now what we are seeing and witnessing, that we don't have a uniform protection or laws in relation to the intellectual property. But yes, people who belong to that jurisdiction, specifically the artist or the creators, have to follow and comply with those things. Now, when the talk of NFT came, there was another buzz. What will happen to the IPRs? Does we need to protect ourselves or not? Is this sufficient enough to holding a NFT, and that shows the ownership or not? So my advice to all the people who are dealing in NFTs, and which are even the clients we are dealing with, it's like, act as per your jurisdiction, right? So NFT, no doubt, gives you a priority date. It also proves that yes, you are the person who is holding it. Yes, you are the person who can resell it because it is, undocumented at times. At times, it is documented because smart contracts are working on it, right? So it depends on the platforms what they're choosing, whether they're choosing the platform of smart contracts or not. They're just choosing a platform where the peer-to-peer relation, and it's very simple that the owner buys it and sell it or resell. So, if you see all the regulations, it works on the priority date and the creation and how you prove it. So, NFT, no doubt, gives that weightage to the artists and the creators that they own it, they preserve it, and they have, the right to exploit it to the every extent. But yes, as regulations are not on place, the countries are taking different viewpoints because if I see the reports, the NFT graph went from July till October to a very high peak. After that, again, started falling down. So there are certain things which the regulations and jurisdiction questions which people are facing. For that, in that case, we can do simultaneously that you own an NFT, but you also protect yourself under the IP laws, what whichever provisions are available in your particular jurisdiction, because no doubt the blockchain technology, other technologies have opened the floodgate for all the people to represent their art internationally, and everything is cross border now. So it's better that all the artists, all the creators, and all the people who are working in space have to they have to look into the contracts very carefully. They have to see the data collection, the due diligence, how the platforms does, how the IP is to be protected. So till the time we don't have all the regulations, whatever is existing priorly to the new version which is coming up, they should also protect themselves under it. And once the regulations are there, definitely the picture will be very clear and we can work on those lines.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a nice thing. And I'll pick up on one of the things you said, Ankita, especially when you said the word contract. Actually, my opinion is that both NFT users as well as, the secondary marketplaces, apart from putting the terms of sale in place, that's one part. They also need to put they should address the warranties, the IPs, the liability, the applicable law, dispute resolution mechanism.
Yes.
All these things, all these frameworks are not there. Besides this, also, there is nothing much which is, you can't do much about the anti-money laundering laws. They're also not in place. What about cross-border laws? There are a lot of cross-border laws because, purchases are cross-border. In countries such as India and China, we have a lot of problems, yes, but there are others which don't have. So where should you mint your NFTs? Sometimes, and of course, financial market laws, data protection laws, tax laws, all these are, I think, issues which need to be brought up and highlighted and a framework created around that. We have just submitted about 2 weeks back a document to the government of India specifically around all these. Let's see what happens. I don't know. But in the meantime, we've done our bit. And I am especially working with the finance ministry right now, specifically on trying to plug these gaps now. And let's hope good sense prevails and we get some good rulings out there. We've got a difference, all right, but it's good sometimes, better late than never. Chalega thoda time aur chahiye unko.
Definitely, that will be a very helpful because it will be also helpful to draft the contracts for people because it is very important how they have to secure themselves in their own territories.
Absolutely.
So definitely,
yeah. The NFT area is pretty much gray. It's more black toward than gray also, but yes, it's seeing the light of day, and then the gray becomes proper black and white at some point. So,
indeed, indeed.
Right, that was very insightful. So, this session altogether has been, I mean, we've gotten perspectives which are very fresh, and it was much needed for the market given so new people need insights from leaders like you all. As we're heading to the end of the session, our last question would be, I mean, any parting pearls of wisdom for our audience from your side? All the panelists. So we can start with Vishakha, ma'am. Would you want to?
Sure. I think it's the first time, I mean, I keep telling this to everybody, is that it's the first time that you actually have an opportunity to have an immersive experience. I tell this to especially my media friends that don't just report from the bylanes. You have an opportunity to participate, have an immersive experience, understand, and let's build this together. it's not difficult to understand. The youngest artists, creators on our platform are as young as 10 years old. If they can do it, so can we.
Right. Um, I mean, if Tarini, would you like to
As a
give an
creator, I think I would say that it is a very empowering experience to be able to put up your artwork, get recognition for it, as well as get an extra revenue stream. Even if you're doing any other, your profession is something else, you can still create NFTs. Nobody's stopping you. In fact, if you have a love for art or music, you can create and you can get an income out of it. So it's a very empowering space to be in. The community itself is very helpful, and you learn a lot in the process. From me, I personally did not know anything about blockchain and NFT because it was connected to art. That is how I got to know about blockchain, and I got to learn about this new technology, which we will soon be adapting. So it is not only, I mean, it for me it was a very interesting experience because I went backwards. I went from NFT to blockchain, and that is how I'm learning about crypto now. So it is a learning experience, and there is a lot of information available out there. But now I am trying to spread the right kind of information by learning. And the I think as artists and people in the space, in the NFT space, in the crypto space, it is our duty to not only spread information about NFTs and crypto, but also spread the right information, because there is a plethora of information out there on Google, and you could pick up any link and you might get lost in a flood of what is this, what is that. But it is not as complicated as it seems, and it was initially. But the more you read and research about it, the better it is. And before getting into anything new, any new space, it is important and very, very important to actually read and research about it and learn, and continue learning and don't stop reading, researching about it. So
Absolutely,
that would
absolutely.
be.
That is the way to go about it. Researching and learning. Mr. Reddy, would you like to give us an
Yeah, right. I agree with the both panelists what they said, and I'll keep it very short. See, since this is something new, all the new who wanted to try out, they have to observe, they have to learn, then they have to practice it, they have to, then they can make a very steady and organic income towards this. That's it.
right, right. Miss Samya, would you?
Uh, so, from the legal perspective, the only to say what whether it's NFT, whether it's cryptos, whether it's technology, all we being the legislators, administrators, we have to welcome all this, because these are the spaces where every individual are looking their revenue creation, their identity, their recognitions. So, from that perspective, yes, the regulation space should be come very soon, so that it could be clear, and how people are, in a straight jacket direction, that whether they want to invest, not to invest, whether to create or not to create. So this bubble of confusion, which is going from years now, we really need to put a halt. And as Mr. Raj Kapoor addressed that, yes, something is put forward in front of the government. There are a lot of people from the legal fraternity also putting forward certain views on the regulations. So we hope so the regulations come, and we welcome this new technology, new era, and new demand of new generation on the place, and protect them with their rights, with their interest, as well as how they're creating revenue out of it, and give this new space a very warm welcome from the administration and the legislative side.
Yes,
Right.
I
So,
think that's perfectly okay. And if you
yes.
think about it, if you think about it, and from what Ankita said and what other panelists have said, there is a lot of uncertainty regarding the future, yes. And in the long run, however, if you address NFTs as a new asset class, and that requires specific rules, that would be a far better strategy than just trying to take it away or just trying to put some things around it. I think that is there. NFT for a lot of youngsters and who are listening to is let's not call it non-fungible token. It's basically a new financial track. It's a new way to make some good money at the side, and I think let's take it in that positive sense.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. With this, we come to an end of our session. We have very interesting questions that from our audience. The first question is for Raj sir and Vishakha ma'am, which is what is a multi-standard token?
Okay, I'll take that, or you take it. Go ahead.
No, please. I was actually going to say that you should take it.
All right, I'll take it. Not a problem because I work on it day and night. No problem. Very simply putting, it's basically it is a standard interface for contracts and that manages multiple tokens. Single token can be deployed in a single fungibility, and this can be in multiple places. So basically, that's it. You can use that token for multiple uses, and that's what a multiple token standard is.
Right.
That is the
I think
rationale.
Jatin has a question.
Right. So, firstly, that was a great way to sum it up. Like this complex concept of multi-standard tokens being summed up in one or two lines is truly a great way to sum it up. And this brings me to a point, and one of the questions being asked by an audience, which I also have in my mind, is we all know about the concept of staking, wherein we lock our cryptocurrency for a period and earn some additional rewards on it. So, can NFT, being an asset which tends to appraise over time usually, so can NFT prove to be an alternative to staking your cryptocurrency to enjoy additional gains on holding that cryptocurrency?
If there is a consensus, yes. Everything in blockchain is all about consensus. That's the first thing. Rather than just staking, I would rather say let's have we've created a system called it's called the proof of fire. Fire is the fifth industrial revolutions and the technologies along with that, which align with United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Actually, that's a consensus mechanism that really needs to be put in place. Better than staking, it's more on based on your green reputation. And as we go ahead in life, it's going to be a green environment which we are looking for. Otherwise, we are burning our own planet. So at the end of the day, good question, yes. But I think the question should we have green proof of consensus? And I would say yes. And that's the future. Blockchain's future depends a lot on the green thing. And having worked with the United Nations very closely on this, we actually launching in January, around the 10th of Jan, we are actually declaring that open because all our testing is done. I'll share more with you later on.
Right. So, looking forward to it.
Right. So there's a very this question I think a lot of people who have just begun in the industry have, which is, do you need to buy NFTs only via cryptocurrencies, or you can do it with fiat currencies as well? So
I think I mentioned it
ma'am,
before.
yes.
We can do that, but different platforms enable different payment modes of transaction. On our platform, if one needs to buy or sell NFTs, we do it via our native token, which is the WazirX token, WRX. We're on the Binance Smart Chain, so the other token is BNB.
Right. That answers the question.
Right.
At the end of the day, you still need your fiat money anyways. But yes, these are the platforms. At the end of the day, that's not going anywhere. But yeah.
We also have a lot of questions coming in, and we hope that we'll be able to direct them to the right persons at the right time. But given at the paucity of time at the hand, we were hoping that we could conclude this session. And before concluding it, I would like to take a moment and extend a hearty vote of thanks here to our distinguished panels gracing this platform with their presence. They enlightened us with their experience and command over many aspects of the startup industry. It's not every day that we get to learn from the best of the industry and have such an interactive and organic session. And I would also like to express my gratitude and admiration for Miss Ankita, the visionary behind LexTech Meet 2.0, and whose brilliant idea is what could change the society as we know it. I would also like to thank our audience for attending LexTech Meet 2.0, and I hope we are able to satisfy all your curiosities. So please feel free to reach us out at Vaidhanik's Twitter and LinkedIn handles, and also at the Rest the Case LinkedIn handle.
There is a question here which I can handle for Amog. I think he's asking if there's any material or books to read on NFTs. You get in touch.
Sure.
Jatin or Ankita, you can just take down his number. I'll send him a book. I've written one book which will be published on Amazon next year, but I'll send him a pre-release of that. So why don't you take it? No
Even
problem.
I
I'm
want
happy.
that too. Even I want that too.
Okay, so just take whoever wants it, I'll give it. It's a very different one from the regular NFTs which we have around the market, because I'm actually, sharing the 2.0. So you might as well let the first pre-release to all our friends out here.
Definitely, I'll share the contact of Amok Tiwari with you. Before closing down this session, I would also personally thank all the panelists who have taken their precious time, and being on one platform and enlightening people with their lot of curiosities and questions in head while entering into this new sphere of technology. And one thing which I learned from the session today, what Mr. Raj Kapoor said at the end, let's be more greener, and technology makes it more greener. So why to waste paper? Why to waste other resources? We are already exhausting everything. Sustainable development concept, which started with the UN, should start with the technology today. And let's make it another world altogether where people can have the realities from every corner of the universe in front of their screens, and have that reality feel that yes, this is possible if we imagine to do it through technology. Thank you, everyone, for being on this platform. And audiences, if you have any other questions, when this video will be on other platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, you can post your questions there. We will be delighted to answer all your questions, and we will try to direct those questions to the panelists also if there's specific questions for the panelists. So please feel free to get in touch with us, because education is the only way, or educating or spreading knowledge is the only way to welcome technology.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you all. Thank
Thank you
you.
guys. Thank you.